Hello, world. This weekend, a tragedy struck our nation in the city of Kerrville, Texas. And I want to talk to you about that this morning if I can. Hello, I'm Professor Toto. That's my stage name. That's what I'm known by. And my job is normally to try to find the truth, to pull back the curtain when it comes to our government and our governmental leaders. And so this morning, I'm going to try to help you understand what really happened in Kerrville, Texas. You always know that an animal has died when you see vultures in the air. This morning, as I looked at my feed, my timeline, I saw the vultures in the air in the form of memes, TikTok videos, and we have two sides. We have the right and we have the left. The left are the liberal lunatics, and the right, well, they're the right. Did you know that both sides are blaming the tragedy in Kerrville, Texas on Donald Trump? So it's my duty to correct every one of you today and bring you something, that itty-bitty thing called the truth. Now, when I say that both sides are blaming Donald Trump, I realize that some MAGA people, which are my people, will say, we're not blaming Donald Trump. We're blaming the government for cloud seeding and whatever the case is. Who do you think the government is now? The government is Donald Trump. So if you're blaming our government, you're blaming Donald Trump. The buck stops with Donald Trump. If the tragedy in Kerrville, Texas was because of government actions, Donald Trump is a murderer. Okay? That's the right. Now we have the left, and I'm really going to come after you today. According to the left, the reason this tragedy happened is because of Doge and all the government cuts instituted by Donald Trump. It was because of the Doge cuts and the National Weather Services that these lives were lost. It's almost like an addiction. By the way, if you didn't get my daily blog today, all these facts are in that blog. You can share that with all your family and friends, co-workers. You can get my blog at Substack. Just look for Professor Toto and subscribe free of charge. Our society has an addiction. The moment a tragedy strikes, these crazy memes start flooding the interweb. TikTok prophets, Twitter warriors, Facebook theologians, all armed with feelings and no one armed with facts. Well, according to the meme, the government cut the NOAA, and that's why there was no warning. Donald Trump. We need more funding for the floods, or they will keep coming. Let's blame Doge or Donald Trump. I beg you to stop. That's not what went wrong. It's insulting. It's embarrassing. It's insulting to our intelligence. Because the Doge cuts, my friend, that everyone's screaming about, have not even taken effect yet. So you can lay that one in a casket and bury it. It's a lie. Okay? Because the Kerrville tragedy happened under full NOAA operational status. And they had more staff than normal when this event happened. In fact, the National Weather Service office covering that area was not understaffed. They were overstaffed. Typically, there would be 2 meteorologists on duty. But there were 5 working throughout the night. 5 meteorologists. Not the 2 that's required. There was an overstaffing on that night. So please spare us the righteous outrage about budget cuts. This narrative is not just wrong, it's provably false. It's embarrassing to any intelligent human being. Now, supposedly no one was prepared, no one was warned. That's a lie. That's completely false. I'm going to break it down for you right now, okay? Number one, you have to understand the land before you blame the band, okay? Hill country in Texas is prone to flooding, literally. It's made the ground out of limestone. Do you know, on our ranch, when we want to build a pond that will hold water, you want limestone. You want rocky soil, hard clay. Why? The water cannot seep into the ground. It literally holds the water. It doesn't absorb it. And then what does the water do? It runs, okay? The terrain in hill country is all canyon, valley, steep drops. Rivers do not rise calmly in the hill country. They funnel, they surge, they explode because the ground cannot drink the water. So it drowns the ground. Now, let's look at the history. Let's find the truth, and you'll find a cocktail for chaos in that part of our world. This is not a surprise. This is topography. That's all it is. The hill country in Kerrville was designed by nature to be dramatic, and when rain comes, it writes headlines. Let's go back to 1978. A flash flood, a fatal flash flood that killed campers all through the hill country. 1998, over 30 people dead in Texas flooding in 1998. 2002, the hill country, devastating flooding, loss of life. 2024, by the way, 1 year ago, same river, same warnings, same outcome. Just Google it, my friend. The Guadalupe River floods like clockwork. This was not unexpected. It was tragically unheeded. I'm going to prove that if you'll stay with me. The entire FEMA studies, in all of FEMA, they have cataloged Kerrville, Texas, and the surrounding counties as flood-prone zone for decades. This is not a conspiracy. This is the lay of the land. And yet, people continue to build campgrounds and gather in these lowlands with this naive optimism that maybe, just maybe, it won't flood this year. Now, let's talk about NOAA. They did their job. Texans were warned. Here's the actual truth, if you can handle it. Thursday afternoon, a flood watch was issued. It was forecasted to be 10 plus, notice the word plus, inches of rain in that area. Guadalupe River was described as a danger zone on Thursday afternoon. At 1:13 on Friday, a flash flood warning was issued. It gave 3 to 4 hours warning before the river ever crested. And it was called, in that warning, life-threatening. So don't be blaming this on Doge Cuts. It's a lie from the pits of the liberal hell. San Antonio had 5 meteorologists on duty. Normally, they would only have 2. So much for Doge Cuts. That's not a cut. That's a mobilization. The perfect storm is more than a metaphor. When Tropical Storm Barry drifted up from Mexico, guess what happened? It stalled over central Texas for 48 hours. It pulled in massive Gulf moisture, and flash floods happened when weather and terrain agreed to kill people. This wasn't some rogue sprinkle. This was not a cloud seeding. It was a textbook atmospheric trap. Now, I know you're going to cut me off and go over to the next guy that can show you that our government did this. Then that means Donald Trump did this. Wake up. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Donald Trump, if our government did that, Donald Trump, he needs to be impeached today, right now. Do you see how crazy that sounds? Get a hold of yourself. Here was the problem at Camp Mystic. Tragedy. Tragedy. Here's why the people did not respond in time. Because many of the camps have no cell service. Now, folks, I'm going to give you the raw facts right here. It's going to come up that the blame does not lie with Donald Trump or Doge or Noah. There's no cell service at some of these camps. There's no NOAA weather radios in any of those cabins. That's right there on the river. None of them had weather radios. There is no river level triggered sirens installed at any of those campgrounds. That's parked on the river. That floods all the time. Warnings were issued. The infrastructure failed, not the science. You cannot hear the trumpet if no one has installed the trumpet. This isn't just about Kerrville. It's about every rural community in America called cell dead zones with no backup alert system. In 2025, inexcusable. What needs to change? Number one, automated sirens along river communities. Mandated weather radios for all camps with children. Flood alerts treated like tornado warnings. State funding for low-tech but high-impact alert systems. Nature doesn't read your budget spreadsheet. It reads your landscape. If you want to help, stop blaming Noah. Stop blaming Donald Trump. Stop blaming Doge. Stop blaming whoever, whatever, whyever, wherever, and whenever. And start demanding local preparedness. And please, stop using dead children for politics. This was a tragedy, not a campaign talking point. Not a meme to make your friends share your fake video footage and your desperate attempt for a YouTube following. If you're blaming this on Doge Cuts, you're not just wrong. You are the problem. But I'll make it even worse. If you're blaming this on man, that means you're scared to death of not having control. We can't think of a world where man is not in control. So therefore, we blame it all on man. There's something called an act of nature. And it proves that men are miserably helpless when it comes down to reality. We have no control. We are clay in the hands of a potter. But we can't admit that somebody, somewhere, is in control of all of this poppycock, hogwash tomfoolery. Drop it, stop it, and realize things happen. Right now, there's no one to blame. Right now, there's people to love, people to help. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.